take off, take flight with you. Yeah, we never fly, but we're flying.
Welcome back to Take Flight podcast, where this week it's a Take Flight takeaway with myself, Daniel. I'm sure you're all well versed in what a Take Flight takeaway is, so I won't go over the boring details and we'll get right into it. You often hear the phrase, new year, new me. Well, for me, and for a lack of a better phrase, it really was that in 2022. By that, what do I really mean? A number of episodes back, we did an episode titled Taking a Leap of Faith, where we as a four discussed and shared examples of us making decisions that were either uncomfortable or without knowing where we'd end up, essentially taking a calculated leap of faith in our professional or private life. In late 2021, I was fortunate to be presented with a number of professional opportunities, both internally and externally. I won't go into the details of how they came about, but after careful deliberation and conversations with my wife, some close friends, and a mentor of mine, I've reached a very hard decision. After 8 years and 7 months to the day, I left the company that I had known since shortly after I graduated. I left the company that helped me develop my character, the company that afforded me countless opportunities, the company that helped form and shape the person I am today, the company I enjoyed making an impact, the company I enjoyed working at every single day, all came to an end. But what was I trading this all in for? To put it simply, it was the unknown to some degree. I was moving into a nascent asset class, an industry that's extremely volatile. It would be very new to me, but not in its entirety. Since I'd been in my former company, I'd always worked with financial data, listed derivatives, foreign exchange, credit default swaps, interest rate swaps, and more recently, crypto, where I essentially created a new role for myself within the company, the first of its kind. And I must say, it was great. It was great because it gave me exposure to senior leaders. It allowed me to be part of very important strategy forming conversations. I was able to form new relationships internally and externally, and much more, whilst learning something new every single day in a fast-paced, growing industry. So where was I going? At the beginning of this year, I started my new role. And for those who may be connected with me on LinkedIn, it's no secret where I am now. I joined Coinbase to help grow the crypto economy and to increase economic freedom in the world. However, I've only worked 5 days in my new job despite starting last year. And no, I wasn't fired, but it leads me into the other part of why I said it's a new year, new me. Additionally to starting a new job in January, I also added a new title to my name, or to me. And that title is Dad. And thus I've been on paternity leave. And yes, whilst you all may gasp because it was never broadcast on any previous episode or on social media, it's something that has happened. So you can imagine how busy it's been for myself and my wife the past few weeks, juggling a new life, a new norm. Also waiting in anticipation of starting a new job, and also my wife and I expecting and walking our first child. In fact, we weren't sure which of the two was going to happen first, whether that be starting the new job or our child coming into the world. You'll notice that I'm saying child. That's because during and throughout the pregnancy journey, we didn't know the gender and decided to keep it that way all the way up until birth. But we had a boy. And throughout that journey, many people would ask and say, what would you prefer to have? What would you like? And in all honesty, and being completely open, we had no preference. Well, I certainly had no preference for our first child, and we weren't eager to find out. Some people thought we kept it to ourselves and weren't telling anyone, but no, we honestly didn't know. We just referred to them as Baby J. Taking a few steps back, and why did I link it to the episode Taking a Leap of Faith? Well, when presented with these opportunities, there were many thoughts, a plethora of thoughts that went through my mind. If I were a single man, it would have been very easy to make a decision, but the single days are behind me. I now was not only making a decision for myself and my wife, I was making a decision for myself and my family. The thoughts of, well, I've amassed credibility, I have good working relationships, I've proved myself with my work. So why would I leave now? Why go into something or go somewhere where I have to do it all over again, prove myself, build credibility, build trust. Why would I want to do all of that, especially whilst welcoming a newborn into the world? Something that neither of us have done before. Neither of us had faced the challenges, may be the sleepless nights, the running on empty, trying to muster up enough energy to record an episode for the podcast. Neither of us knew what was going to wait. Neither of us knew what our new norm would be. But having those conversations with those close friends, my wife, and also my mentor, really helped and allowed me to think holistically, allowed me to think about the short term, the medium term, and the long term. Something I did to really get my thoughts onto paper and clearly in front of me was to do a matrix of pros and cons of each of the opportunities that I was presented with. So even with my then current employer and the opportunities that were afforded to me, what were the pros and what were the cons of taking or leaving that at the table? After doing that exercise, I was really able to think about the short, medium, and long term, which I wanted to ensure would be a decision I wouldn't regret, a decision that I would back all the way, and never leave any room for doubt, not even an inch. I say that and share this because I don't really like the title New Year, New Me, but it's just something that really I couldn't think of a better way to describe what this new year has started for myself. It's not necessarily a new me, but it's a new way for me in two different aspects that I've shared. And when we did that episode, the three others, Shuel, Pabila, and Olu, and myself, we'd all been with our company since we graduated. Neither of us had actually moved company, although we'd moved to different roles, different locations. We hadn't actually left the company which we started with when we graduated. And I certainly felt a sense of security. You will feel that sense of belonging. But nothing can really prepare you for the day where you're faced with a decision of, do I leave everything I've known and go into the unknown and start all afresh? There are many thoughts that come into mind. It even becomes quite emotional, knowing everything that you've known for the past almost a decade is something you're now walking away from. But what I would say is there is a bigger world out there. There is the unknown. And it's all about taking the bull by its horns and making an unequivocal decision to be determined, to take a leap of faith. And lastly, two things that helped form my decision that were completely top of mind was one, you can't grow from a place of comfortability. Secondly, I've always said, if I left Bloomberg, it would be for a company where I strongly believe in its value and its mission. And I couldn't have thought of a better company. There's so much more I wish I could share with you. We do try and keep these Take Flight takeaways in and around 10 minutes, but I'm sure as time goes on, I will share more about the two new adventures that I've embarked on, a new job, which I really very much love, even in the first week. And hopefully I'll share more as to why Coinbase and just everything around it and why I love it so much. And also this new chapter of my life, parenthood. And maybe I'll become a nappy changing expert or something. But for now, let me go and get some rest, get a nap, because this new life is unrelenting, but it is enjoyable. Until the next episode, stay safe and look after one another. And as always, you can find us on Instagram at Take Flight Podcast. Alternatively, for any feedback, you can email us at takeflightpodcast@gmail.com. Stay safe and God bless.
Take off, take flight with you.